The Chargers need to make some tough decisions, and they need to do it fast, because currently they're sitting at the bottom of the AFC West, and they're supposed to be contenders this year. We're in week 11, and yet the Chargers haven't figured it out. This video was going to come out a little earlier, but then a few good wins versus some really bad teams ended up delaying this. But now, after watching them play the Packers, who are not a good team, I mean, they lost that game, very winnable. This video has to come out now. If you were to try and predict the playoff landscape at the beginning of the season, I'm telling you, the Chargers would be up there in a heavily stacked AFC. Unfortunately, things just haven't swayed their way. Hell, they're looking to be at the bottom of the division, and we're nearing the end of the season. Of course, we got the Denver Broncos, who had a terrible start, and then they went ahead and got two really nice wins. They beat the Bills, and they were able to beat a division rival in the Chiefs. The Broncos are looking really good. Then you've got the Las Vegas Raiders, who were an even messier team. They were also terrible at the beginning of the season, so bad, in fact, that they fired Josh McDaniels, their head coach, midway through, and that somehow got this team better. They started winning more games, looked like they enjoyed playing football again, and of course, you've got Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And if Patrick Mahomes is going to be healthy, the Chiefs are going to be winning that division. So where does that leave this Chargers team? When you got a guy like Justin Herbert on the roster, you expect to be winning games. You expect to be at the top of the NFL. That's not what's happening. And it's not like Justin Herbert hasn't had the tools this season. Sure, Austin Eckler's missed a few games, but Keenan Allen has been surprisingly healthy, and he's been playing some of his best football. After last season, when he missed half of it due to injury, he was getting up there in age. Some assumed that he wouldn't be the same, he would be more injury prone. He's proved everybody wrong, because he's played most of the season, and he's looked really good for this Chargers team. He's probably one of the big reasons they've won 4 games. They've at least won 4 games. And of course, there's an obvious flaw with this team that we can point out. Well, they actually have quite a few flaws, such as their defense not feeling the same with so many injuries. They were already kind of depleted as they've gone through this season and lost a heavy amount of defensive backs, but now they lost 2 key linebackers in this game versus the Packers. I'm talking Joey Bosa and Tanner Muse. Both of these guys left the game indefinitely. Joey Bosa's did not look pretty. It might be several weeks until he returns, and if he's not on that defense, who already struggles to hold down teams, it's going to be looking ugly for the Chargers for the rest of the season, because the Chargers defense always gives up a ton of points. Unless they're blowing out shitty teams, they're giving up a 20-plus bomb or a 30 bomb. It just happens over and over and over again. This defense will allow teams to score on them, and it feels like whatever Justin Herbert does, it is never enough. And this was not any more clear than the end of the game when Justin Herbert was trying to lead this team down the field, get into field goal range to hopefully beat the Packers, and Quentin Johnson drops the ball. Very catchable ball. I know he's a rookie and he's going to make rookie mistakes, but he's also a professional who played exceptionally well at TCU last year, so you would expect him to make that catch, especially with who he was drafted over. He was drafted over Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers, 2 receivers who have seemingly had a way better start to their career so far. I know it's super early, but to blow on a guy like that is crazy. On 2 players like that, we've seen this before. Hell, we saw this very recently when I'm pretty sure it was the Eagles drafted Jalen Reagor right in front of Justin Jefferson. Yes, they had Justin Jefferson in the palm of their hands, and they select Reagor over him. Of course, imagine him on that offense currently. Yeah, it's poetry in motion. Maybe they don't ever trade for A.J. Brown now that they have Justin Jefferson on the team. Who knows? But we're getting off topic here. We got to focus on the Chargers, and one of their key flaws is their coaching. Yes, Brandon Staley, if you ask any Chargers fan, any basic Chargers fan, they'll probably tell you Brandon Staley's the problem. We need to fire that dude. Just like half the other teams in the NFL, half the other fan bases, they want either their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coach, they want at least one of them fired. It doesn't matter how good the team is, it's always the coach's problem. But honestly, in this case, it might just be a Brandon Staley problem. He is a maestro when it comes to making questionable decisions on the football field. He's a bit of an analytical guy. he'll go for a 4th down, or he'll go and punt if the analytics tell him he has a better chance to win here. He'll kick an onside kick. He'll be very aggressive sometimes, even when he doesn't need to be. I mean, we all remember the Vikings game. He kind of handled that ending poorly. Yes, that was a very terrible way to handle the Vikings game, and yet the defense ended up bailing him out, so he got lucky there. But even the football gods don't fuck with Brandon Staley, because we all remember the playoff game versus the Jaguars last season, where they got off to a really hot start. They looked unstoppable. The lead was 27-0 towards the end of the second quarter. Austin Eckler was playing out of his mind. You know, Justin Herbert was having himself a game. And then Brandon Staley comes in and just messes everything up. You could blame the defense. You could blame the lack of productivity. The offense was producing in the second half. But let's be real. Some of the play calling was terrible. Very highly suspect. That's probably why they blew a 27-point lead and lost 30-31. That was Justin Herbert's first attempt at making a playoff run. Who knows if we'll ever get that again, especially in the Brandon Staley era. He's just been a questionable coach, and it honestly feels like he's been coaching this team a lot longer than he has. So while doing research for this video, I looked into it. I couldn't remember off the dome how long he had been here. Turns out this is Staley's 3rd season with the Los Angeles Chargers, which blows my mind because I feel like people have been calling for his head pause for way longer than I could remember, and he's only been in Los Angeles since 2021. And of course, if you look at the win-loss record, it's gonna be in Staley's favor just because he inherited such a good team. He was given the keys to a Ferrari, and what has he done with it? Stalled it out. Some would say he's even driven it into a wall that they can't get past. Of course, the 10-7 after 2 seasons, he made the playoffs in his 2nd season. That sounds fantastic, but Anthony Lynn left this team in a really good position. Should he have been fired? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the reason Staley was brought in was to kind of rejuvenate this offense. Herbert was going to be coming into his own under Staley, which he has done in spite of Brandon Staley. The credit should be going to guys like Joe Lombardi, Shane Steichen, maybe even Shane Day, anybody but Brandon Staley as to who should be credited for developing Justin Herbert. Hell, even Kellen Moore should get a shout out. He's been alright this season, nothing world-ending, nothing groundbreaking or anything. But he has been solid for this team. Who knows if they decide to keep him around. They're going to need some scapegoats this season, especially if this team misses the playoffs, which it is looking like they're going to do. I don't see the Chargers, as it currently stands, making the playoffs. Why? Their division's tough. The AFC is absolutely stacked, and if they drop another 1 or 2 games to easy teams, yeah, there's no way they're squeaking in there. But hey, what do I know, right? I mean, they've got the Broncos and the Patriots in upcoming weeks. Hell, by mid-December, you could be coming back to this video. That could be completely wrong, which I doubt, because the Ravens are going to smack the hell out of them next week. So you know what? You can tune in next week, and I'll be saying the same stuff. I'll catch y'all later. Much love, and I feel so sorry for all those Chargers fans who are out there, because you guys were supposed to be contenders. I don't know what happened. Okay, catch y'all later. Much love. Hopefully, Brandon Staley gets fired.